Thank you, Godfrey, for that wonderful prayer. Dear partners, customers, and potential customers of Centenary Bank, the topic for this Zoom meeting is intervention for agriculture development. Of course, we all know how important the agriculture sector is for this country. Looking at what it contributes to the country in terms of contribution to the national economy in terms of GDP, but then also the employment, the number of people it employs. And in this topic that we're going to discuss, of course, we have quite distinguished people in this space. We have Mona Ssebuliba. She's the Chief Operations Officer, ABI Finance, very critical and important partner for the growth of the agribusiness. Mona, you're most welcome.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here.
Thank you. Then we have Evans Nakhokho is the Chief Manager Agribusiness, Centenary Bank. Evans, you're most welcome.
Thank you, moderator. Good morning, everyone.
Well, and lastly, I will introduce myself. I'm Charles Boji. I'm the moderator for the day. Again, just remind you, our topic is interventions for agribusiness development. Now, just to give a bit of a digest of what we're talking about here. Of course, for starters, I've already alluded to the fact of how important the agriculture sector is for this country because it employs majority of Ugandans, both directly and indirectly. And if to look at the entire value chain, actually, you will say that it's one of the low-hanging fruits that this country has, to free the opportunity, transform its people and to transform the economy. But of course, within this aspiration, the aspect of financing comes in quite critically because to really move from where we've been as a country for decades, peasantry agriculture, the informal operations around the sector, you actually need finance to come in to really help scale our operation in this particular sector. And once you talk about agribusiness finance, really you can't forget the role that Centenary Bank is playing in this particular sector, because as a financial institution today, it is one of the largest, if not the largest, supporter of agribusiness financing with a portfolio in the excess of 300 billion Uganda shillings. Now that's quite something. And then in the same breath, you can't, again, edit out of the picture the role ABI has played in supporting different financial institutions as partners in trying to push this agenda of supporting agribusiness and agriculture generally in this country, sitting in different spaces across the entire agricultural value chain. So I don't want to go into the details of that because we have the experts in this particular sector. We have the financial on one side who's dealing with day-to-day realities and issues in this sector and also supporting the actual players within the sector. And then on the other side, we have a very important partner in the name of ABI who is actually pushing these financial institutions like others to actually support operations and activity within the agriculture subsector. So first off, we'll begin with you, Evans. I'm sure our audience is eager to hear your presentation on the topic, interventions for agribusiness development, and especially coming at this time when we are contending with the grievous impact of COVID-19 on all operations, not just agriculture, but the business community in general. Evans, over to you.
Thank you, moderator. I will put up my presentation shortly. I just want to get confirmation from you that everyone can see it.
Okay.
Do we see it?
Yes, we can see it.
Oh, thank you very much. Let me first express my deepest gratitude to our customers out there who have supported us in this journey. Important to note is that without them, this journey would have not been a success, and we probably would not have written any single verse in any chapter, because then the chapter would never exist. I would like to also thank our partner. We prefer to refer to ourselves as colleagues in crime, and this is Abi Finance, who are represented here today. I'm specifically thanking Abi because with them we've been able to walk a fruitful journey of over 10 years. 10 years of going down the trenches to discover what the farmers want, what agriculture is demanding for, and applying ourselves to the process of finding solutions that would be able to respond to these needs, as I will be able to demonstrate in the course of this presentation. I would like to thank staff, board, and management of Centenary Bank, who have again given us an opportunity to experiment, an opportunity to bring these proposals forward, and the support specifically to the sector. As you may know, not many banks a few years ago were willing to expose or do credit accommodation in this area of agriculture. But for a board that has such foresight, and for the MD, Mr. Fabian Kasi, who holds such foresight, we've been able to, take these risks that many people feared. And because of that, we are here and we are happy to be here. I would like to also appreciate all the other stakeholders that I may not mention here individually, but just to say we appreciate, and without you, this journey would never have been a success. So today, I will be addressing, I don't know that you're seeing the next slide. It seems to be hanging here.
Not yet, Evans.
Okay, just give me a moment. I'll do something about it. Okay, as takes care of itself, I'll nevertheless continue. In this presentation, I will focus on about 6 things. And these 6 things will be woven into some kind of story. So the first thing I will do is demonstrate our commitment to this sector. I will then be able to, raise the matter of COVID, a reality that we are all exposed to in one way or another. And so I will look at the impact specifically to the financial sector, where Centenary Bank sits. And then I will also be able to demonstrate the measures that we have taken and continue to undertake as an institution to make sure that our customers are supported as they go through the hardships that are caused by this pandemic. I'll go through the bottlenecks in the sector. I'll talk about our story with clients. Our clients have taught us very, very, very valuable lessons from which we have been able to develop these solutions. And so I'll be talking about the solutions as well. But I also demonstrate eventually what is in it for our customers. I will share some takeaways so that we have good value for coming to this meeting. I'll start with our story. And this is the story of commitment to this sector. For you to say that you're involved in this sector, there must be key tenets that should come through. Now, if you look at the very first photo, the very first shot, it has something to do with, somebody trying to look at many things, but looking at them a bit differently. So our bank is heavily and continues to heavily invest in technology as a mechanism to enable us to deliver value to our customers. You would never go into this technology, the costs that we incur, if you do not have your customers at heart. I will demonstrate later how this is coming through. We also went ahead, if you look at the next photograph, to get down to understand the sectors and subsectors really well. So we've exposed ourselves not to the less risky level of the value chain, which would be probably export or even trading, where you have a commodity right in front of you. But we have deeply involved ourselves into the financing of the ordinary Ugandan, the one who places seed in the soil and goes back to pray that it rains and prays that we shall not have flooding. And this is the story that we identify with. And this is how we pay true allegiance to the founders of this institution who are here for the common good of the ordinary Ugandan. If you look at the photo that is next on my right, you will notice that there are people. You see those people there. This is a demonstration of our dedicated department, a department that wakes up and thinks agriculture and works agriculture. So our dear customers, there is a team that the bank has dedicated to the business of understanding agriculture, to the business of being able to churn out solutions, to the business of organizing such events so that we can be able to benefit. There is the logo that is next there. I have said things about this logo already, and these are the people at Abi Finance. It's amazing that without Abi Finance, or with Abi Finance, we've been able to render at any one time credit to a turnover of approximately 100 billion. There are things we do with them. They support us to train our customers. They support us to train our staff. They've given us motorcycles. They've done all these things for us. So choosing to work with Abi, you must have a true interest in agriculture. Otherwise, if you're talking to them about other things, usually you will not be able to survive for all these years. With Bank of Uganda, we are part of the principal financial institutions that are running the Agricultural Credit Fund. And we have been able to, provide credit annually that moves to the tune of about 6 billion. And so we think there's an opportunity here that we can continue to leverage on. We have not stopped at merely doing that, but we have also gone ahead. If you look at that particular shot that has Axiom, we have found a partner and we have applied ourselves to a process of doing more than what banking requires of us. As you may all know, our customers, banking does 3 critical things: that you're able to store value as a bank, that you can be able to transfer value, but then the other thing is you're able to provide credit. But beyond these 3 things, we are now involving ourselves in profiling, going to summarize the profiles of customers so that we can use that information to support our customers save better, to support our customers to be bankable, and therefore tap into that fold of people in this country who are unbanked. No one does all these things if they do not mean what they are up to. And I thought that is an important thing for us to raise today. I'll then tackle the reality of COVID. It is something that has hit the rich, the poor, and interestingly, you'll say healthy and unhealthy, because even those who are healthy will only have to fight it. But it has the same kind of impact on our businesses, on the businesses of our clients. I just wanted to say that Centenary Bank cares. And because we care, we already know that about 4 things have happened. That, for example, the ability for customers to pay their loans is impaired. And so customers, some of our customers who probably would pay an installment of 1 million shillings, probably can only do 500,000 Uganda shillings. Some businesses have been washed away. Some businesses have had deteriorating cash flows, and we can continue, we can go on and on and on. So we are aware of this trend. The second thing is revenue compression. Of course, when you have revenue compression happening, then what this means is you'll have businesses wind up, like I have mentioned before. As businesses wind up, it means even those who would be coming in as new borrowers, as potential borrowers, cannot join you. Customer service and advice provision has changed. There are now restrictions on personal interactions, if you've been following. Social distancing requires that we keep a distance. And so it means we still have to show our customers the same love we did, and yet we have to do it through a different channel. Today, we are here and having this same touch. We would have wished to come to you where you are, like we did previously. But the limitation now has made us think so differently, and that's why we are coming to you this way. Of course, there will be also adjustments in operating models to be able to suit the current challenges that we have. That said, I will now demonstrate what the bank has done, having understood what is going on in the market. We have been able to offer relief, and this is debt relief to our customers. And this happens in 3 ways. There are customers that we have been able to, visit. We've looked at their projects, and their projects, we found that their projects can be able to survive if we added them credit. And for those that qualify, we have been able to refinance them. Again, I'll be talking about those customers who are able to either change products, change channel, or change infrastructure. So these are the customers who needed extra finance to be able Okay, I think something happened, and moderator, are we still on?
We are.
Yes,
I
you're
can
now
hear
back.
you.
Okay. Thank you very much. I had mentioned debt relief, and I just covered refinancing. I had covered restructuring. I'd also covered moratoriums. I had moved on to the SOPs in our banking halls, including printouts that show you where you should be able to stand, just to make sure that we are controlling the spread and also making sure that our customers are not exposed. So we've also had 2 particular concepts come to the forefront, and these include environmental social management, which is again an effort to be able to reach out to our customers and work with them to make sure that we preserve the environment, because again, beyond us today, there is a world that has our children and our grandchildren to come. And of course, social performance management, which focuses on our, the client protection, focuses on, the social goals beyond just profit and beyond the usual extension of credit. The other thing that we are doing is collaborate with other partners, just like Abby, to make sure that we can find cheaper financing or cheaper funds to be able to on lend at much lower rates to our customers. So we care about the pricing of our loans, and we think that by pricing appropriately, we will be able to contribute to the well-being of our customers. There's also Moderator?
Yes, Evans.
I'm told the presentation went off, is that so?
Yeah, it went off at a certain point, but then it came back after a few, maybe about 2 minutes or,
Okay.
or a minute, yeah.
And then, of course, as again a way of coping with the challenges posed by COVID, we've been able to offer our customers an opportunity to open accounts at their comfort and at their convenience in their homes through our Center Express option. We've also been able to create a loan product for short-term requirements on our Center Mobile. So you can use our Center Mobile application to be able to do loans, remittances, but you can also pay for utilities. We are also finalizing an online onboarding solution that will enable our customers indicate their financing needs using mobile and also get feedback on mobile so that eventually you can be able to apply for credit and get it without having to necessarily be in the bank. The next thing that I would like to go through would be the bottlenecks in the sector. The reason I have to go through this is because unless you appreciate the challenges in the sector, you can never be able to hone the right solutions to be able to respond to this. So what we come across as an institution and when we talk to our customers are those four things. The high risks and uncertainties in agriculture. It's a known story that we lend, and sometimes weather vagaries kind of cause a reduction in yield or even no yield at all. And yet we have to go back to those same customers and support them on one more time. We have challenges around data collection and transaction costs. We've had scenarios where our customers tell us that today's acre is much smaller than the acre of those years. And so if you have somebody who is just coming in from university and they do not have a clear appreciation and they don't have a clear understanding of how this works, then they will make the wrong decisions. But then because our customers are spread out, it is always going to be challenging to get to all of them, to collect data about them, especially if we know that even this data is probably not kept. The other thing would be price fluctuations, which is a real thing in our kind of business. Many times when we are doing analysis in the loan committees, you have a price that you work with. But by the time you go out to recover this loan, unfortunately, that's not the price that is reigning on the market. So it means you'd have done your projections on a basis of a figure that probably is changing from time to time. We also know that credit history is not something that you can readily come by, and that our customers do not have sufficient collateral to be able to take credit. We also understood there was also the matter of moral hazard and of course information asymmetry. We've had situations where customers rehearse. If you have given a loan to the first customer, then he tells another, and so they rehearse. And you will find the customers giving you the same answers even when they have differing situations on their farms. So this reality too is something that we are aware of. This is what we have learned from our clients. They've told us that they have needs for financing in those areas that you can see. One, it comes out clearly that land preparation is a critical issue for financing. I would like to confirm that we have this kind of financing. They've told us that they want financing to plant, figure 2, and we have not held back. We've been able to develop a product and an offering in as far as this is concerned. So you can take funding for the purpose of planting. They've told us about the requirement for weeding, number 3, but they've also told us about the refinancing requirements around pests and disease management. They've also told us that they need financing when they are harvesting so that they can be able to, they can reduce the risks that they probably, the risks of the loss that they encounter when they are harvesting. Given that background, we have been able to respond in those three kind of categories. We understood from this conversation that our customers require responsive repayment structures, an understanding that when I lend for pineapples, I'll need to have a period, a grace period, an understanding that if I'm lending for sugarcane will probably be harvested after 18 months, and that customer needs a whole 18 or 17 months as a period that is available for him or her. We've understood that they require multiple disbursements at various levels, and that means that we can give you money just to help you do, say, land clearing, but we can do disbursements along the way for purchase of fertilizer and all these needs as they come through. We've also understood the collateral requirements, and we've been able to innovatively create an offering that allows our customers who don't have sufficient collateral. So we look at how progressive you are, we look at how well established your enterprise is, and we can make a decision on a waiver on some of the collateral requirement. So this makes it easy, and this is on top of all the other collaterals, the wide range, the chattels, and all these things that we take as collateral. We've been able to understand that our customers want to know what it takes to be bankable. And so we've gone to them to do sensitization. We've been able to have deeper conversations with them, and we are having this same conversation again today. We've understood the need for flexible repayment schedules, and this is a matter of maybe allowing a customer to pay nothing, and then they pay interest and capital at the end, or structure a loan in such a way that the customer pays interest in between and then pays capital as a lump sum. As a result of this knowledge that we were able to gather from our customers, we've been able to arrange facilities for input suppliers. We've been able to arrange facilities for land preparation. So you can borrow to hire land, you can borrow to clear land, you can borrow to do plowing, you can borrow to plant, and planting focusing on seed, fertilizer, and labor. And so we also have been able to arrange financing for you to get pesticides, for labor, for transporting, for drying, and for all these packaging materials that one may need at that level. Our clients also told us that in as far as marketing is concerned, they would want money to be able to pay scouts. So it means you give them working capital that they are able to advance to the scouts who are going to look out for the produce. They also told us that they would like to actually purchase produce. And so we give them working capital to be able to go out there and aggregate this produce and then sell it to the final off-taker, and do the same, of course, for the off-takers as well who want raw materials. Preliminary cleaning and transport, and this is specifically transport from where they are picking the produce to the collection centers and to the eventual destination, which again is something we have responded to. But they've also told us about delayed payments by off-takers. And so we've responded by providing an invoice discounting facility for such customers. We've provided asset finance for customers who may need to own their own transport means, and working capital, like I said, for those who would like to trade. Now, we also gathered that the customers who are doing processing would like to purchase equipment, replace components and storage, do maintenance and, you know, servicing of equipment and raw materials. And so we've collaborated with the Bank of Uganda to be able to finance all the value addition facilities that our customers will have. We also, using our asset finance option, are able to take up some of the requirements for equipment. But we also have a trade finance offering that allows us to anchor all the requests for purchases of equipment that are coming from outside the country. Now, in everything we do, what underpins our kind of actions, our activities, and everything we do are those 5 things. We want to be affordable. We want to offer convenience to our customers. We want to give our customers immediacy. We want to give them transparency. And that's why we're talking about social performance management. And we want to contribute to, you know, a better planet. And that's why I was talking about environment. I would like to specifically go around the philosophy that we've been able to create as an institution. And this is trying to surface our utility as a bank through technology by building a set of banking platforms to do banking. So like I said, our customers can open accounts through the Center Express option, which is an online option. But we can also move money and access credit, like I said. Now, at the end of the day, that is why at our bank, the core utilities of banking, which would be trust and the 3 I mentioned earlier, are interwoven into a single package, and technology is therefore the mechanism that we use to deliver this change. Now, I would like to summarize my presentation with those 3 areas that I thought are very, very critical. What separates us as humans is the transformation, a possibility of change, and that desire for us to evolve. Now, because of this, we must understand, we must think about things that will enable us survive as customers. So beyond banking, I would like to propose 3 critical areas for our customers today. And one is around channel, the other is product, and the other will be infrastructure. Now, I'd like us to get deeper into this discussion. Under channel, my question to you is, can you produce the same product using a different channel? Now, this is purely about using a technology moderated solution to deliver your product. So when we talk about accounts online, what we are trying to do there is we are trying to produce the same product, but we're trying to deliver it through a different channel. So as a client, are you able to look at the opportunity that comes with a differing channel? The second question that I will again pose, and this is around product, is can you use the existing infrastructure to produce new or different products? Think about the guys who were producing alcohol and are now doing sanitizer or sanitizers. Think about the guys who were running bars around town and how they've transformed into restaurants. Think about the hotels that have transformed into hospitals. I've also seen schools that are transforming into different things. I've seen football pitches turn into some kind of medical facilities, Nambole next door. So is there something you can do as a customer to use your existing infrastructure to produce new products? And finally on this, infrastructure. Can you use different infrastructure to deliver the same product? And this is about reaching out to collaborate. If there's anything we emphasize at Centenary is collaborate. Find someone like Jumia did, that what Jumia is doing is not necessarily produce everything they deliver, but a lot of what they deliver is produced elsewhere. And so I thought this was critical for us to share. I'll leave you with a note that I have, that I am so passionate about. And that one note is, if I always do what I have always done, I will always be what I've always been. So if you want to move your business, if you want to make a difference, then do not forget the three things: the channel, the product, and infrastructure are key in today's transformation. I would like to thank you for the time, moderator, and thank you all. God bless you.
Thank you, Evans, for that wonderful presentation. And I'm sure our those that are watching and following us have gotten some good takeaways. Our audience, I would like to mention the fact that we're going to have a session of Q&A after Mona's presentation, which is coming on next. But just a bit of a digest of what is coming out of Evan's presentation. I mean, the key message, which I don't want to go so much into, is thinking outside the box. And I think you can see Centenary Bank actually trying to do the same. What I forgot to tell you is that of the 300 billion that a bank has lent out to agribusiness, about 60% of that money is going to what you would call the small guys. I wouldn't even want to call them small and medium enterprises, because we all know how unstructured our agriculture sector is sometimes. But we'll be, distilling a lot of those discussions in our Q&A session. At this moment, I would like to invite Mona. Mona from ABI has already introduced. ABI is a critical partner in supporting agribusiness financing in this country. So Mona is the Chief Operations Officer, ABI Finance, and these are the partners that have actually supported a number of financial institutions to reach out to many players within the agriculture subsector. Over to you, Mona.
Thank you very much, Charles, and good morning, everybody. ABI is very happy to be a partner with Centenary Bank, and also very happy to be sharing this platform with you today. So we thank you very much. Evans, thank you so much for the very glowing introduction that you gave and the history that you gave about our partnership. We are most gratified and can assure you of our very highest considerations as well on the part of ABI. Getting into the meat of our discussion. Sorry, guys. Into the meat of our discussion, I will take you briefly through who ABI is, what our partnership with Centenary Bank has been so far, and also get into what the pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic that we are facing brings forward by way of opportunities, and how we can harness it together for the betterment of our beneficiaries, our clients, the smallholder farmers, and the agribusinesses. But briefly, ABI is a social enterprise founded by the governments of Uganda and Denmark, and focused on agribusiness development, specifically value chain development and financing. And to that end, we are comprised of two companies: ABI Development, that houses the Agribusiness Value Chain Development Department, whose focus is direct intervention within the value chains through grant financing and technical assistance or business development support. We focus on the entire value chains that we support through, right from production through to value addition, that sees us trying to enhance components like processing, as well as even on the production side to enhance our productivity and try and make our smallholder farmers as efficient as possible. We focus under ABI Development, we focus on 6 value chains, coffee being the biggest value chain that we support, dairy, grains, pulses, oilseeds, and horticulture. And closely related to that and working together is ABI Finance Limited, that I'm representing, that is pretty much on the call today, where we focus on agribusiness financing. After the development comes financing, and with that we work primarily with financial institutions such as yourselves, Centenary Bank, with a view of expanding access to finance for agribusinesses as well as smallholder farming. farmers, and the key support that we have had with Centenary Bank has largely been through liquidity support and technical assistance, a few things that Evans touched on earlier. Another key component for us is social performance management focus. We need to be socially responsible in our investments, and it is something that we are working on closely with partners such as Centenary, where we focus on doing no harm, and we focus on mitigation of social and environmental risk to limit negative externalities or impact, and then also deliberately doing good, promoting things like organic fertilizer, and anything that enhances the productivity of the players, of smallholder farmers, of agribusinesses in a sustainable and responsible manner. So sustainability is a big thing. Climate change, you know, is something that is talked about, was actually being talked about quite a lot before COVID-19 came on the scene. But, you know, mitigating against things like climate change and enhancing our farmers' resilience and that type of thing falls under the focus that we have under social performance management focus. Gender is a big thing for us because women have generally been excluded or not well catered for in terms of access to finance, issues around ownership of collateral, and various barriers to them accessing finance, a focus of us that we try to do away with as much as possible. So we promote farming, for instance, as a family business, and the value chains department component, where we encourage farmers and families to work together, where we find that families that work together and bring together the resources of both the man and the woman and the growing children in a concerted effort, where we see them discussing and planning together and sharing the labor, go further and are more productive and are more effective in their interventions. Of course, there's the financing elements. So with a partnership, for instance, like Centenary Bank, we partnered on the product Superwoman, where we, in the first phase, it was to enhance women's savings, and in the second phase, it is to enhance women's borrowings under specialized products that have been structured for women borrowers. Financial literacy is a big thing in that product, as well as peer-to-peer engagements. We find that people generally tend to learn better from people that they relate to and can learn from better. So we, in that partnership, we tend to bring women that have made strides in growing their businesses, especially agribusinesses, to speak to ladies who are starting the journey or on the journey, to encourage them further. But getting deeper into, indeed, the partnership we've had with Centenary Bank, it's been a 10-year journey, one that has been very fruitful, most gratifying, and Centenary Bank almost ends up being, you know, the go-to partner that you want to show off in terms of the strides that have been made. So adding my voice to Evans, you know, we thank the board and management and staff of Centenary Bank for their agribusiness focus. It is certainly right up our alley, and we thank you for the partnership and for the steadfastness and focus that you have brought to the sector. It is very much appreciated. So the liquidity, in terms of liquidity support, we have been able as a partnership to serve over 100,000 clients over our relationship in the excess of 300 billion. And that is no mean feat, and we didn't arrive at that place overnight. As Evans told you, there's been need for training, for product development, for product refinement. Sometimes we've even supported in establishing branches in hard to reach areas. He mentioned motorcycles. Indeed, some of those hard to reach areas will require motorcycles for the loan officers to reach their clients, to do their monitoring. Financial literacy, supporting, indeed, bringing communities together to better understand how to save, how to what facilities are available in terms of borrowing, how to borrow responsibly. And it has even gone into some agronomic practices, deepening things like agricultural insurance. Again, when Evans spoke about the journey of a farmer, tilling their land and hoping that it doesn't flood or that the drought is not prolonged. We're trying to enhance the knowledge that they have and reduce the information asymmetry that often plagues the farmers, the agribusinesses, not knowing what services are available, how they can be made affordable and competitive, and the mitigations that come along with sometimes that will cost them some, but it is better to spend a little than lose a lot. So we find that we have engaged on various initiatives over the years, and as Centenary Bank has gotten steadier and bigger and mature in the things of agribusiness lending, we find that we are moving more to now more sophisticated and more innovative interventions in our partnership. So Centenary right now is able to do a lot of these things themselves, the product refinement, the product development. But we're thinking if we're going to partner, it truly has to be innovative, and that is something we will touch on, that if there's one thing that we've learned from this crisis is that innovation will be the way that we come out on top. Now, just to give you a quick run through what we've learned about the pandemic and what it has and its impact on Ugandans and generally even globally. Research from Financial Sector Deepening Uganda indicated that 1 in 2 Ugandans could not sustain their lifestyle after only 1 day lockdown. And by day 20, the number had risen to fewer than 2 in 10 people. 23% of Ugandans received their income daily or irregularly, and they could not work due to travel restrictions and therefore experienced 100% loss in income. 10% of Ugandans use banks as their primary source service provider, while 40% of the poorest and 47% of the middle income earners rely on savings groups. Rural households are more resilient than urban households. So in our interventions with Centenary Bank, these are nuances, this is information that will come in handy as we structure the next intervention, the next products, in terms of how do we support the most affected demographic that tend to be our beneficiaries, the smallholder farmers. You know, how do we digitize them, cognizant of the fact that they don't have mobile, smart mobile telephony, but have more basic telephony, but still need to find ways of being resourceful and innovative around that. Then generally, from an economic point of view and a financial services sector point of view, we pretty much are in recession. Globally and domestically, there's been economic disruption, slowdown, and we've seen the central bank even revise down our GDP growth rate prospects. There's generally been reduced lending across the board, especially at the beginning of the pandemic. There was a lot of uncertainty and people were unable to pay their facilities until restructuring came in and rescheduling came in. But generally, we're seeing that appetite is increasing, is getting better as the economy opens up slowly and as a clearer picture starts to emerge. Even though it is still hazy, we're seeing shoots in terms of starting to cautiously pick up lending. There's generally been decreased liquidity and depressed earnings, and therefore straining savings. People have had to cut back on their spend and generally on their lifestyles. Our response to partners like Centenary Bank has been to be as relevant and as responsive as was possible. And we put together some stimulus packages for the financial institutions to support them to ensure that, you know, to the best of their ability, they do not slow down, freeze, or at least restart agribusiness lending, because time and time again it was talked about the agribusiness sector being the least affected, although it suffered shocks as well. But people have to eat, farming has to go on, food needs to be grown, so there was need to come in to be as responsive and as quick as possible. So we rescheduled facilities that we have with our partners, and we are putting off the repayment of principal and interest. And this is also happening across the board with the partners, especially with directives coming from central bank. There was a reduction in interest rates by an average of 5 percentage points on all running facilities. We needed to be cognizant and also ensure that relief was received by way of the interest rates. So if rates were, for instance, at some point 36%, using an example, the rates were reduced to about 31%. Short-term working capital facilities have also been made available to partners in distress who, as a result of finding that their customers are not depositing, are not saving as much as they would, and would need to borrow and need working capital. We also have a short-term working capital facility, and we are we're not charging any fees on that, again, to reduce the burden to the financial institutions as well as to the end beneficiaries. There's a waiver on all penalties for 12 months. Where we have projects running from the technical assistance point of view, we have no cost extensions, and we are doing budget reallocations to see how to move money along to the most required sectors or products. We continue to provide technical assistance, especially for management information systems, digitization, and risk management. Those are key, especially in the wake of the pandemic. There's need to ensure that financial institutions and our customers alike are resilient, particularly in those areas. As you can imagine, the communication is a lot more frequent than it used to be. Sometimes we were happy to talk once a month or once a quarter, but now we're talking weekly, we're talking monthly. We're engaging a lot more closely to our partners, wanting to understand what the landscape is looking like and how we can partner and how we can remain relevant and how we can be of value to our end beneficiaries, our stakeholders. Sorry. So what are we learning from all that we have seen so far? There have been many key opportunities to learn, and indeed the partners or the people that will come out of this are the people who embrace this challenge and look for the opportunities and look to be innovative and look to do things differently, which Evans touched on earlier. So agility is key. There's need to act quickly, to morph swiftly, to improve business models, to digitize, and to do enhanced business monitoring. You need to be quick in your decision making, you need to be responsive, and you need to think on your feet and innovatively. Risk management frameworks indeed have been tested. I'm sure at the beginning of 2020, we could not have envisaged where we would find ourselves in October. This was a typical black swan that was totally off our radars, but whose impact on our lives personally and professionally and in all aspects of life. I think this pandemic has not left any aspect of our lives unaffected, and it has cut across the entire globe, demographic or age or creed. So there's need to enhance these frameworks, to have our business continuity plans enhanced to plan for the unexpected. We might not always be 100% ready, but the agility will help us cope and pick up. Basically, to have a plan as well to guide prompt decision making, we need to be less bureaucratic and more quick on our decisions, but at the same time enhancing or ensuring that the right risk focus is maintained. And there'll be need as well, and there is need to manage entities that are in distress, that are becoming delinquent and need further support. This crisis indeed provides or brings about opportunities to assess our business models. It's a good time, it's a good opportunity to assess ourselves even personally, but also professionally and in our businesses, to assess our business models and see what needs to be tweaked in order to survive the future, to survive the current environment that we're in. It's an opportunity to build new relationships or deepen existing relationships. As much as we've been working together for 10 years, this crisis provides another opportunity to relook at our partnership and see how we can enhance it, how we can deepen it and strengthen it, particularly to the benefit of our smallholder farmers and agribusinesses. Indeed, product development, product refinement is very key to keep up with the innovations, the good ideas that are coming through, the adaptation of risk management frameworks, testing or developing business continuity plans in entities that are of lesser means than Centenary Bank. We find that business continuity plans were not even heard of, and we're supporting them to put these in place. So, and then entities like ours and Centenary Bank, where they were indeed existent, there's need to enhance them to make them more relevant and more effective. Improvement indeed and enhancement of our digital channels, and also digitizing the ones who are not digitized. So with those few remarks, I pretty much come to the end of the presentation. Once again, thanking Centenary Bank for the very fruitful partnership that we've enjoyed over the years, and looking forward to what we can do together, especially to overcome and transform the challenges brought on by the pandemic. Thank you all very much.
All right. Thank you very much, Mona. That was Mona's presentation. Thank you so much for supporting a noble cause, because we all know how important agriculture is to this country. And now this is the point when we come to the questions. The Q&A session that we promised our audience that is following up. But before we go there, I think I'll start with Evans. Evans' presentation was quite powerful on looking at, of course, what the bank has done to actually understand the market that they are dealing with. Because as you know, the agriculture sector has quite a number of unique realities. Really, to adjust my screen a bit. But so the unique approaches that have been adopted by the bank, of course, with its partners, come in quite prominently there. But Evans, one of the questions that I see coming in on the platform from some of our members is the assurance you can give them, especially in this COVID-19 season, that are you going to continue supporting the sector? Because we know there have been some not so good results out of or realities coming out of this. In certain areas, we're seeing an increase in non-performing loans. I think we saw that from the report that was released by Bank of Uganda recently. So what kind of assurance can you give players in the agricultural subsector?
Thank you, moderator. Just to let us, I'll just do a simple reflection on what happened when COVID set in. I think that was around March. And when we began to think of lockdowns and all these things, we remained true to our promise as Centenary Bank. And we simply, I think, stopped for a week just to study the situation. And we actually went ahead and did the disbursements. It is quite interesting that between the time COVID set in and now, I think we're able to grow by 5 percentage points over and above the normal growth that we had anticipated for Agri. We know that during this process, we also learned that our prices of specifically eggs went down. We also got to realize also a challenge with matoke. But fortunately, if you look at the trend, these prices have improved, so that we're able to even lend when the prices were moving in the wrong direction. Now we cannot even say no to this, because we know that we all have to continue eating. We all need to have food on our plates, no matter how hard it gets. So the assurance from me and from the bank is, yes, this is what we're here to do, and we shall continue doing it. What will change is how we do it. And that's why I was talking about technology and all these things. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Evans. Mona, on the level of engagement with your partners like Centenary Bank, that you work with on onward lending, how much do you, or how far do you go in ensuring that, the support you're giving actually delivers the needed impact, especially in tough times like the ones we are contending with today, the COVID times?
Thank you, Charles. Please allow me to keep my video off. When I turn it on, I seem to have network disruptions on my end, so apologies for that. But as I mentioned or indicated in the presentation, there is need for frequent engagement and communication, and which has been stepped up now. So you find that in our engagements, we do a lot of reporting, a lot of monitoring, a lot of studies are done. Some interventions will the results of some interventions can only be tracked and measured over a period of time. Sometimes it takes a while in order to see the impact that, say, a loan has had on a household. If you give it a year or 2 or 3, you're then able to, one, start at a period when an intervention started by taking a baseline, and then visit them later over a year, over 2, over 3, and see and hear from them what the story has been in terms of the improvements that the household has enjoyed over the years from the support that they're getting with Centenary Bank. For instance, I'll tell you, we started with a loan worth 200,000. We're able to start this poultry business. We started with X number of birds, and the bank continued to support us. The facility went on to 500,000 to 1 million, and with that, I was able to send my kids to school. We're now able to afford medical facilities. So there's that type of long-term reviews and assessments. In fact, impact studies, assessments, evaluations that are done, and that way we are over the period. Both Centenary Bank and ourselves able to assess what the partnership is achieving and where we need to tweak and improve. Then in the short term, indeed, Evans and his team will send us reports and let us know that in this month, we've been able to lend this much to this number of clients, and of whom 50%, for instance, or 40% or 30% have been women. We're able to distill that information and understand that the bulk of it is towards production. We're seeing some coming into processing, where we're seeing maize mills picking up traction. But if 90% of that is in production, what can we do to enhance it, for instance? So those are the kind of questions and discussions that we have in order to get the interventions to be that much more impactful. So really, it's information that is shared on a short term. In a short-term framework, as well as mid and long-term, with various assessments going on, all for the purposes of ensuring that the objectives that we intend to achieve are indeed achieved.
Thank you, Mona. Evans, in terms of access, I know you've done some great work in expanding your branch network, of course, with support of partners like ABI. And then I think Mona also mentioned the aspect of embracing the digital platforms to reach out. But again, there's also the question or the aspect, which again came out in the discussion, of the fact that a number of our farmers, especially small operators, do not have access to smartphones. If you can share with us more initiatives that you've used as a bank, or more activities that you brought on board, or innovations, to reach out to as many farmers as possible, considering the fact that the bulk of our farmers are actually smallholder farmers. How are you doing this?
Thank you, moderator. First, it's a bit interesting that usually when something new comes up, uptake will always be a problem. I remember the first ATMs we had as an institution, and how they seemed so irrelevant to to our customers then. But over time, uptake began to increase. So we know that, yes, our farmers are interestingly adapting as fast. But that said, we understand that the adapting also takes its time. So there are other ways we reach out to them. For example, we have agents who are spread across the country. Through this agency network, we are able to also, link to our customers. Create a link with our customers, both the ones we have in the system and those that we are taking on as new. The second thing we are doing is, again, we still do the mobilization that we used to do. So when we come to a community, and this is what we refer to as potential assessment, we come and look at the kind of needs that our customers will have. So there are those physical visits. The physical presence enables us to have real-time chats with our customers, and that is how I'm able to put together such information that I shared today when I was saying their needs are this and that. The other matter is you can also get the farmers into the tech world by not necessarily requiring them to be the ones administering the tab in this case. So one way we do this is, for example, we have a company we are collaborating with that is profiling farmers. The process of profiling a farmer has a physical conversation happening with the farmer, but the information you take from the farmer can be used to make decisions on digital platforms or through the digital platforms. So I will say to you that we have adapted a a semi-automated journey, one that sometimes gets us to go physical, or I'll call it probably a cocktail of the physical and, also the digital. But I know that where we are going, the solutions that are coming through can even be accessed through a torch. For example, there's a collaboration that we are building up with MasterCard and Bukola Chemicals and Cabratech on the other side. We've decided to switch technology from what is something that seemed high end to technology that can be used by any ordinary Ugandan. So we will be unveiling this, and this is an effort to do that. But finally, just like we are collaborating with ABI on this end, we also have other partners who have an interest in the matter of financial sector deepening, in the matter of increasing, lending of agribusiness. So these ones have gone out to organize, farmers in the various areas in the country, and they've been struggling with probably a financer who can help complete this kind of loop. So what we've done is collaborate with these, but also go and speak to processors to be able to track back where they get their produce from. And this is what I refer to as, the value chain principle for us. You want to take interest in the farmer's market. If you produce, where do you sell? By asking that question, then you're able to bring either the farmer into the fold or the off-taker into the fold. So you now offer a solution that talks to all the levels of the value chain, and it means you have less administrative costs, but then you also can lend at lower rates over time. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Evans. Mona, coming back to you on the issue of assurance still, because we know COVID has been an equalizer, it has affected everyone globally. Again, I have someone here asking about the assurance of ABI's continued support during and post-COVID. Thanking you for the noble cause you've given to agribusiness, but is this assured that going forward it will continue happening?
I think one thing that COVID has taught us all is that you can't say you know something 100%. But yes, to give you can't plan for the future 100% and expect that it will go exactly as planned. But to give assurance to our partners that at least for the short to mid, and what is reasonably a long term. We're here to partner with you and to work with you. But from a sustainability point of view, success for us is when partners like Centenary Bank and others increasingly do not need us. I think that will be the true success when our work is done and we can focus maybe on something else, still within agribusiness, but the more and more we leave the partners to do a lot of the product development, a lot of the financial literacy, a lot of the interventions by themselves, is the extent that we will be that we will have achieved success. Is that in the short term, and is that possible? Perhaps not immediately, but we continue to work with our partners to make them that much more resilient, that much more able to stand on their own feet. And even when we are working with them, working with agribusinesses and working with smallholder farmers, the enterprise development success growth is key for us, that even the SMEs, the micro entities and the SMEs and even the large ones are growing on and moving from strength to strength, probably needing less support in more areas and needing more sophisticated support, needing more market linkages, needing more access to bigger markets would be the bigger success story. So for sure, we are still in partnership. We're still working together based on the grounds of innovation and sustainability remains at the forefront. How much more can we make you independent of us to walk on your own in a way that is sustainable, is competitive, both for yourselves, the enterprises, even the financial institutions are enterprises. So it must, the support that we give must be sustainable, must be adding value, must be moving you towards independence as you do the same for your borrowers. You want to ensure that your borrowers are coming for bigger ticket size facilities and require a lot more sophisticated support from you than very basic interventions. So yes, thank you.
All right, thank you, Mona. Evans, again, I have someone here asking about qualification for support from Centenary Bank. What are some of the key things that a small agriculture operator or a farmer in that sense needs to qualify for support from Centenary Bank?
Thank you. One, that you are involved in a commercially viable enterprise. Commercially viable, not that it is big, but that you can be able to, generate income from this project. Two, that you've been able to try it out for the first 2 cycles if it's production, and so you have been able to get firm knowledge about that, or you have you've amassed experience from elsewhere where you've done it, and therefore you're going to apply this this knowledge in your own enterprise. The other thing is usually we will assess, I talked about progress here, to say, okay, in the first season, how did things go, and in the second season, but also have a discussion around what plans you have to, change certain things. We also visit you, and so if you have anything to offer as evidence of ownership of, say, the garden, or hiring, evidence of hiring the garden, or even where you stay, that also is critical for us. If you, depending on, again, how much money we are talking about, we'll look at the collateral you have to see whether you want to commit. Again, collateral from the sense that as a customer, you're committing something in this journey. That would be critical. The other requirements are the known ones, like the financial cards. These are the ones that you're able to, get when you come to the bank, and then we take you through the process. Those are the critical ones I can mention here, really. Thank you.
Thank you, Evans. Quick one for Mona as we wrap this up. Does ABI Finance support contracts in brackets tenders? If yes, how is this done? That is from one of our viewers now.
I'm not too sure I understand that question very well, but just to say that in a relationship, for instance, with Centenary Bank, we would urge them to reach out to the financial institutions like Centenary Bank and others and see what products are available for their support. We have a unique product known as the Portable Guarantee, where with financial institutions, we can work with SMEs, we can work with agribusinesses that require a bit more support from a collateral point of view. But we would have to work very closely with the financial institution and understand what the financing needs are, where the challenges are around collateral, and see how we can do some credit enhancement together to be able to be some sort of guarantor to the bank. But that would be on we would have to understand the business and work closely with the partner and or the borrowing entity and a financial like Centenary Bank. But with regards to tenders and contracts, I didn't quite understand that. Perhaps we can take this offline and see how to help together with Evans and see how to help this particular customer.
Thank you, Mona. Evans.
Evans seems to wants to say something.
Yeah, please come in.
To that.
Thank you very much. Yes, and I think that explains why we had to be in this together. I think the person that was, I think, Pat Soil, that's the name I see, asked that question. I think let us look at, I would like to reach out to Pat Soil. I think we'll see how to share contacts. And then we will analyze this. Again, we say that if we are dealing with a person who is progressive, we can be able to look at what kind of things we can relax. Because the credit journey is one that involves looking at the risks that we are exposed to and how we can mitigate them. So that kind of analysis needs to happen. And if we do it and it looks nice, then we could, extend this kind of, depending on how much we are talking about here, because there would also be a chance for us to do clean facilities. But again, that's the discussion we need to go through with the client. Thank you.
Thank you, Evans. I'll again come back to you for your closing remarks, to close this quite noble interface on your side.
If I had only a sentence to do, I would say, if I always do what I have always done, I will always be what I have always been. So I would like to call upon our customers to rethink how they can differently approach business in the face of this pandemic, because they are our strength. When their businesses are doing well, then they can repay and we can continue to grow together as institutions. But also to invite everybody on this call to go to our branches and speak to any of our personal bankers, any of our branch managers about agriculture. If you want to probably even look at rates that are a bit lower, talk to them. If you have a need for training, we can also offer you training that is specialized for you as an SME or as a group of individuals. So I would like to, thank you and invite you to partake of our very rich offering as Centenary Bank. Thank you, moderator.
Thank you, Evans. Mona, your closing remarks?
Thank you, Charles. Thank you, Evans. Ours is basically to say that partnerships for us remain key. It is said, if you want to go fast, walk alone. If you want to go far, walk with somebody else or walk in a partnership. So this partnership with Centenary Bank remains key, remains a priority for us. And as I mentioned earlier, will be driven a lot more by innovation. What can we do smarter, better and quicker in order to serve our clients, the SMEs, the agribusinesses, the smallholder farmers that much better. So to an even stronger and better and more formidable partnership. And we thank you for the last 10 years and can only thank you and hope for an even longer future and bright future together. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Mona. Thank you, Evans, and our audience. As you can see, there's been, of course, as a country, we tend to have this assertion that, the financial institutions are risk averse when it comes to lending to agriculture. And yet, we still say this is the low-hanging fruit that the country has, looking at the competitive and the comparative advantage that we have as a country to our peers, especially in the region. Now, those who had that assertion, I think this interface has shed some good light that you have a financial partner who's committed to support the cause. And as behind that financial institution, there's also another partner in the name of ABI, ready to support the cause of agri-financing. What I'm picking from this is that, we have to look outside the box sometimes to get solutions that work. And I think COVID-19, like Evans and Mona have put it across, kind of brings this to the fore. And again, innovation becomes very critical. But most importantly, at least we have that reassurance that there are players in this market that are keen on seeing that the agricultural sector gets the kind of support it needs. Thank you very much, our viewers, especially those that are in Uganda and abroad. And thank you, Mona, once again, and Evans, for that wonderful presentation. Thank you and have a good morning.
Thank you too.